Welcome to Monday, guys. So I thought last week sucked because it was cold out. This week sucks because this is our May Day. I think Christmas is coming back soon. Well, here's to another week. The joys of driving with snow-packed wheels. I don't know if you guys can see this. Guess we need to go a little slower. Well, guys, this week it's going to be a little bit different. Again, I don't really have one specific car to center on to do stuff to and throw on the dyno, but we do have a few cars like this Vet right here behind me, right here, and this Evo right here. One thing we've been doing a lot of lately on the C7 Vets is ethanol conversions. Excessive Autosports makes an ethanol conversion kit for these. The cool thing about these being direct injected is it's as simple as just adding the sensor, setting up some stuff in the computer, and doing some tuning. So this one will be pretty cool. We'll show you the difference of E85 and pump gas. This is the only thing done to this car at this point is just headers and an intake. So we'll do a compare dyno pull. We'll get this car on E85 and then we'll see the power differences. Something else we're going to work on this week. I'll do some stuff with this Evo. It's got a ProUFI on it, built motor, built trans, built T-case, pretty much everything you can do. We put the ProUFI on it and tuned it in the past. This car makes well over, let's just say well over 800 wheel. It's here though because they're taking it to a race this weekend, and we're going to add a couple of features before he hits out there. We're going to add the rolling anti-lag feature with the ProUFI. We're also going to install one of the ProUFI CAN logger gauges. That way we can get some data when the customer takes it to the track by himself. So just a couple things we're going to do around here, and I'm sure there's going to be more. Lots of dyno pulls. Let's get to all this stuff. Alright guys, baseline numbers on the Vet were 405 horsepower and 381 foot-pounds of torque, and that's at the wheels. As always, E85, once we got that all dialed in, making 436 wheel horsepower and 394 foot-pounds of torque. That's the blue line you're seeing there. You know, those numbers aren't too bad for just throwing in a flex fuel sensor, doing a little bit of wiring, and setting some stuff up in the software. Obviously, there's a bit of tuning involved with that, but the nice thing about doing a sensor like that is it's not, you don't have to just select one fuel or the other, like going 91, just 91, or just E85. Essentially, if you mix the two together and you end up with E40, E70, whatever, that sensor will adapt that tune based on that fuel mixture. So that's pretty cool. A lot of the customers like it because ease of use. They don't have to worry about dual tunes and crap like that. Well, alright guys, let's work on some more stuff. One quick thing I forgot to show you guys here. We did a 6-gear pull on it just to get numbers out of it, and I'll show you what those were here. There's our compare again. There you go. That's a 6-gear pull versus a 4th gear pull. So our peak numbers at the car total were 446 wheel horsepower and 467 foot-pounds of torque. I think the customer will enjoy this one a bit more than when it came in. So I got my sidekick helping me today. Matt's over here working on installing some wiring. I'm going to install this can logger gauge in the Evo. And we're going to do a rolling anti-lag switch and an ethanol content sensor so we can set up all the flex fuel on this finally. Found a good spot for this sensor, or this gauge. I'll show you what it looks like here. This is the can gauge. It's got a USB port here on the back, so we can log anything from the ProUFI that we set up. We're going to put this guy down here where the ashtray was. So let's get to work on this stuff. Maybe we can do some street polls, show how this rolling anti-lag and stuff like that works here in a little bit. Oh, and there's a pretty sweet wagon on the dyno right now. Turbo LS 5.3, I think. I'll show you some videos of that later, hopefully. See you after a bit. Now that we're all done with that Mustang, let's take a look at the numbers. So on pump gas, we made right at 535 wheel horsepower, and we did not make 857 foot-pounds of torque. As you can see, there's a sample issue on this guy, right on the side there. Let me change this. There we go. Yeah, dyno sampled weird at the end on the torque. More than likely it's probably making right around 510 foot-pounds of torque. Well, after we got all done doing the pump gas stuff, we did fine-tune E85. Now on E85 we made right at 588 wheel horsepower and 500 and roughly 504, about this, probably about the same torque, more or less. Here's a compare. See here. Here's the compare of those two graphs. Kind of give you an idea where the gain is. Anyways, now one thing I really, we were hoping to do was change pulley again once we were on E85, since we don't have to worry about the knock and stuff like that. Turns out we didn't end up having enough injector to quite go to swapping to a smaller pulley to drive that blower a little harder, make a little bit more boost. It just wasn't going to happen right now. Fuel pump wise, that side of this is great. This car's still holding in the 60s. We can make it hold in the 60s for fuel pressure at redline still. So at this point it's just injector size. Just need to upgrade to a little bit larger injector, swap pulley, and push this thing a little farther. Well, I suppose let's get to doing some other stuff. Well, I got some bad news, guys. We're all done working on this Evo. Well, not all done, but we got the gauge installed right there. Turn the key on here. Got the Pro if I Can gauge installed. And we got our flex fuel stuff all done. We're not going to have time to set up the rolling anti-lag. This week's really short, like I said, with us having to leave to go to a race this Friday and Saturday, which in fact is tomorrow. So, but we just got to do a little adjustments with this can gauge. The nice thing is, like I said before, that the customer can now log. It's got a USB output. If he ever has an issue with anything, we can take a look at it, make changes if we need to, which is a good thing, especially since this customer is pretty hard on it and wants to do quite a few racing events, be it either no preps and cash days, things like that. So I suppose we better put some stuff up on the rollers, get a bunch of numbers this week, see some unique cars. Well, let's get out of here. Well, it's that time again, guys. Let's talk about what's going on at the shop. First off, we got this 68 Firebird here. We built this car probably 5 years ago, I'd say. It has an LS3 out of like a 2010 Camaro. A big Whipple supercharger on it. It's got a 700 R4 trans. Used to have, was an original 400 Pontiac motor. It's got full ride tech, suspension, coilovers, control arms, everything. It's got a upgraded steering box. It's a Detroit Speed. Pretty fun retro mod, that's for sure. And I think it makes like upper 600s wheel horsepower. So it's a tire burner too. Datsun's gone. Obviously we did some stuff to this Evo. We got the motor out of the Supra. The head's off of the machine shop. For this particular one, based off of time frame, we chose to just get a short block. It was best cost effective, and we can get the customer going again. We're doing a piston rod short block on this. Good for plenty of power. The Jeep has been up on the dyno a couple times. We got the pump gas stuff pretty much done. Started running into some misfire issues, so swapping plugs on this. I just don't know if we're going to have time to get it back up since this is a race weekend. Like I've said before, things get crazy around here. There's probably a dozen other cars that we've been dealing with trying to get ready. That's pretty much what's here right now. This Beamer just showed up. It was originally a blow-through carb turbo setup. We're gonna put all the EFI stuff back on it and get this thing running as a EFI turbo. Well, all right guys, we're going racing this weekend, so I'll see you later.